Well, we're going to shift gears now because we've got Richard Baker here from Baker Branding. And Richard, great to have you here on the show.
Thank you for the opportunity, Hugh.
Now, you guys, you and Marla were, all of us were
Yes.
engaged in some great discussion. Actually, you mentioned you're from Mississauga, right?
I am from Mississauga, correct.
And we got talking about, because Kenny's from
Hazel.
Mississauga,
Yes.
and he was talking about Hazel. And you had a Hazel story, Marla.
I said that, I have been in awe of Mayor Hazel for, as long as she's been around. And I had the wonderful opportunity of being hired for my one-woman show in October by General Electric. And she was one of the speakers before me. And so she arrived, and we were all sitting at one of the many tables in this big room in Hart House. And I was like, looking at her, staring at her, and she was not acknowledging me at all. And we're just sitting at the table before she's about to be introduced, and she sees this pamphlet on the table, and the pamphlet was about me. So she picks up the pamphlet, and she's looking at it. And I'm staring at her, and I said, Mary Hazel, that's me that you're reading. And she never even looked at me, and she went, I know. Gotta go on. And I thought, oh.
Okay, I'm going to tell you my Hazel story.
Okay.
And then Richard can tell us his Hazel story. I don't know if he has one.
I have no Hazel stories, no. She's a great woman.
Yeah. Well, she's done a great job with Mississauga, but let me tell. So anyway, my band was playing at some fundraising event in Mississauga in the summer. It was a big for cancer, and so we're just about to start playing, and all of a sudden there's a big it's like the seas parted, and this figure steps forward through the crowd, and it's Hazel, right? And it's she's come to give her blessings and make a little speech at this event. And so the next thing she's right up on stage with us, and somebody says, Hazel, why don't you sing a song with these guys? And we're going,
You're saying,
we're not that good. Like, we only know the songs that we know, right? That we
We don't do cabaret in the key of F.
And then Hazel says, how about You Are My Sunshine? Right? So we go, okay, well, we'll give it a shot here. And then we're all trying to talk to each other. Do you know that song? Do you know what it is? And then I foolishly, I said, Hazel, what key do you want us to play it in? And she goes, she's thinking for a minute. She goes, just play the damn song.
So what'd you do?
We played the damn song.
Oh my God, you
And,
pulled it off.
We pulled it off.
I
There might even be
believe it.
videotape of it somewhere.
Oh yes. Bring that clip up.
Yes.
We'll go back to it after the commercial.
Yeah. So,
I'd like to see that.
I'd love to see
well,
that.
it's probably not that good. But
Yeah.
anyway, so Richard, great to have you here on the show.
Well, thank you.
And we met at that Metro Active event.
That's correct, we did,
a couple
Hugh,
weeks
yeah.
ago, right?
Exactly. It was a great event to meet and interact with new friends.
Yeah, and Baker Branding. So let's start with that. First of all, because Marla had I think a really good question.
Yes.
And that is, what is branding?
Well, that's a good word. It's a good question. I think it's a question that has multiple definitions depending upon what your premise is. For myself, it's the way that actually brand connects with the consumer or with the business. So it's because it's what people buy. People don't buy a product and services; they actually buy the brand.
Right.
If you go to, for example, everyone buys Tim Hortons.
Mm-hmm.
They buy Tim Hortons. They don't buy the coffee. They don't buy that. They buy Tim Hortons.
They buy, and it's a whole experience, isn't it?
It is an experience that exactly. That you have to enjoy that experience. You have to get out. You've got to get the promise that brand offers you. Because if you don't, then no amount of advertising is going to help you get that brand back to you.
I kind of joke sometimes about Tim Hortons. If I don't wait in line when I go to Tim Hortons, I feel ripped off somehow. Like I'm not getting the full experience,
Not me.
right?
Exactly. That's but Tim Hortons, is got a great brand, and they second cup Starbucks. Starbucks is another great brand that they've done a great job.
And then they
distinguishing
changed their
themselves.
emblem, whereas they took off the name and just had that
Yes, they
figurehead, which I didn't like.
Well,
I
I
didn't like
can't
that
speak for
decision.
them, so what it's a change in branding culture.
But why change something that's working?
Well, people do it all the time. Think about the Coke. Remember the new Coke?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what was going on with all of that.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, brands must evolve to keep up with to keep going, because a successful brand is timeless.
Yeah.
And because it is unique and different, and so if the business works on it, their brand will stay relevant for a long period to come.
But they can make mistakes. Like I
They
think
certainly do make mistakes.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone makes mistakes. Certainly, everyone makes mistakes. I had the privilege a number of years ago to marketing Tabasco brand pepper sauce in Canada. There's a brand now that's like 160 years old, and it's still privately operated, privately owned by the family,
I love that.
the McElhaney family. And unlike many other small brands who have now actually been sold out to the bigger brands, that they still, are maybe the number one hot sauce in the world today.
That's fantastic. I love hearing those stories. Like, is Buckley's a private company still? Buckley's cough syrup?
Yes. I'm not
'Cause he
too sure.
talks on the
They're a
commercials.
great brand as well. That I remember
And they're honest. We taste terrible, and we were.
exactly. And I love the owner's honesty.
Yeah.
And that's what was
That
was
makes
so
me wanna buy
and
it.
that was so great about it. I'm really not too sure because unfortunately I don't see those commercials anymore for Buckley's.
Yeah,
yeah.
me neither. But they have some new products coming out, liquid
they?
gels. Yeah. Branding is such an interesting, powerful
Yes.
subject, and I always think about the item of Kleenex.
Yes.
Because we always say, do you have a Kleenex? And actually, Kleenex is a brand.
That's correct.
It's actually a facial tissue. But we don't say, do you have a tissue? We say, do you have a Kleenex? And that's how powerful that brand became. Isn't that true?
Well, very much so, and because they've done a great job as well in building up that brand identity, and it got around. They positioned the product, they positioned their brand properly, they brought a personality to it, and they had a point of differential, and so those are the key aspects to a great brand. Is what I refer to as the 3 Ps, and in particular, more personally, when it comes to the personality, because that's what people buy.
yeah.
They buy the personality, they buy the emotional values that you associate with that brand.
It's interesting. It's interesting because I'm just thinking of another great brand, and really the personality of the brand that you're talking about, and that is the Man from Glad,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Now-
very much so.
Now, and from what I understand with the Man from Glad, that concept originated in the States, but in the States they only it only went for like 1 year, whenever that way back when. But in
Yes.
Canada, the Man from Glad was so popular
That's
that they've
right.
kept the Man from Glad going ever since.
Yes, and another one is with Kellogg's, Tony the Tiger. There was a great brand, to go right there, and I believe Kellogg started to bring it back a little bit because people people associated Kellogg's with Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're great.
Great, exactly.
And then the voice actor died, and they had to find a new
I
voice.
heard the new
Yes.
voice. It's not
yeah,
as good
it's
as
not
the
the
old
same.
voice.
It's
no.
like when Fred
Oh, yeah,
Flintstone
the new Fred
died.
was
and,
No,
not
it,
you know,
it-
they
the
had to
branding
get the-
is a wonderful world to be in because it is a business's most valuable asset. Embrace it and build upon it.
Now, I when you talk about some of these stories of some of these brands, I almost part of me thinks that in many cases, a lot of that is accidental. It's not planned, and you can maybe correct me if I'm wrong. But Kleenex got lucky that the culture adopted that brand name as an actual word in the language.
Yes.
And because you can't count on that, you
No.
have to. You might adopt some strategies, but ultimately it's up to the culture or up to people to accept that.
That's correct. Exactly. All that the organization can do is position their brand against the competition.
Mm-hmm.
How they are then perceived and how they're positioned in the minds of the consumer, that is up to the consumer himself. So all I can do for a business is position them against the competition. I can't position them in the minds of the consumer.
Now, there's another product. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's fridge. Put the food in the fridge, and fridge is part of Frigidaire, which is a company. Frigidaire
Correct.
made ice boxes,
Yes.
and we, for short form, would say fridge, and that's become the lingo of what you would call, I don't know what else to call it, but your fridge.
Right.
That's because
Well,
of Frigidaire.
There was the other, the lonely Maytag man.
Oh yeah.
And that really helped build up that image as a washer and dryer that would never break down because he was so lonely because no one ever called him for service. And that really helped position them as as maybe the most durable washer and dryer
Yeah.
out there in the marketplace.
Absolutely, and you still think that way when when you're looking into those
Right,
appliance
and
decisions.
and I missed the Gordon jump from
Oh, see, Gordon.
Well, he was the
Before that was
replacement,
Jesse
yeah.
White,
Yes, very good.
right?
Very
And
good.
Jesse White is the archetypal
Yeah.
Maytag repairman,
Yes,
right?
and so I believe they started out with a new actor or actress, and I don't think they caught on as well.
Well, Gordon Jump. See,
It
when
did-
he was doing, I was thinking WKRP.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
It's a
right.
great show.
Yeah.
Exactly. The general manager of
Yes,
a radio
yes.
station that just
Like he couldn't. I mean, he for himself built such a strong brand
Yes.
as the station manager of WKRP that it was hard to
That's right.
rethink of him
Rebrand
as,
himself.
Yeah.
Reposition himself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and that's a good point. That the branding concept is, for a business, but also people,
Correct.
in a
very
sense,
much
have their
so.
own personal brands, right?
Well, again, I'm right now. We're trying to connect with some real estate agents, and what I'm trying to do is recognize that Remax Royal LePage, they're their corporate brand.
Mm-hmm.
Each of the real estate agents is their own brand,
Yeah.
and they have to brand themselves properly. And how do they do it? That's the big question, because there's so many real estate agents out there. I meet so many at all these different events. Like you probably met at that Metroactive event, Hugh.
Mm-hmm.
Probably met 2 or 3 real estate agents, and it's like, how do you distinguish between one from the other? And again, it's all gets down to how they're going to position themselves, their personality, their board differential, and their promise.
Well, and I'm thinking about the one real estate agent that jumps out in my mind who's really branded himself well is Brad Lamb.
Yes,
Of
very
course,
much
the-
so.
I don't know if the condo guy, and I remember there was posters of his face on
Yes.
a lamb's body. So how
Yes.
can you forget that?
And I've got a great I have a great business partner in Richard Dolan, and with the U.S. Property Shop, and he's doing a great job building up the U.S. Property Shop brand in the marketplace today.
Yeah. So now, your company, Baker Branding, what are the services that you offer? Do you offer this kind of brand strategy to small and
We do.
medium-sized
We
businesses?
offer, well, first and foremost, we're a fully integrated branding and marketing service. I have actually a strategic alliance with a gentleman by the name of Mr. Javed Khan from Impression.
Mm-hmm.
www.impression.ca is his website. And he is a great gentleman and a very intelligent businessman that I've hooked up with. And so we're working on a number of different projects right now. So, but firstly, what we try to do, is create a distinct brand identity for small and medium-sized businesses that be more resilient and particularly more profitable during these tough economic times. We
Okay.
recognize that their brand is the most valuable asset, and we want to build upon that.
Mm-hmm. So, what does that process look like? You go into a company and
Well,
what is yeah.
it starts off really first and foremost in fully talking with the owner of the business and really find out what is his vision, what's his mission, why did he get into it, what is his point of difference, what do you think his point of differential is? It's talking to the employees, and the employees are the greatest brand ambassadors for your brand, and yet I've found many small businesses don't understand that, and they don't relay the message of that brand down to those employees. So when they're out at events like we were, they can tell the story as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so important to make sure that all your employees are up to date with what your brand strategy is. And so then it's also talking to your customers and talking with your customers and find out what do they think your point of, why do they deal with you? What was it? And what is it? Is there, what did they promise you? And are you living up to that promise? A lot of them is actually then, Hugh and Marlo is actually then going on the internet and doing some research against the competition and find out exactly, what's the competition offering? How are they positioning themselves right now? And how do we stand out against them?
That's probably one of the keys, is to check out the competition. But is your process not only to interview the owner and the employees, but if they have a product, for instance, food
Yes.
or a box, to check it out?
Oh, very, very much so. It's Very, very much so. Because the message you're sending out has to resonate, again, the 3 Ps, the promise, the point potential, and the personality. And so many websites, don't do that properly. They go ahead and they start talking about, unfortunately, the products and services. And there is a shift right now from a product-centric brand philosophy to a customer-driven philosophy due to the internet today. And it's no longer can you dictate to the consumer what your brand is all about. It's now a two-way communication process. And it's listening to them and understanding exactly what is it that they would like to see in your brand. And so we're now working together to enhance your brand image.
I mean, that sounds like a major change in the way that you need to think about brand and brand strategy.
It is, and it is a tough one because many small businesses are still on a product-centric because they could be. It was, hey, I've got the greatest product out there, and it's the best product out there, and you have to buy it if you want it. Today, with the social media world and with e-commerce, that's no longer, I can get anything I want now off the internet if I want to, but more importantly, I can even share a message of a bad experience I might have with a brand. And that can now be a wildflower, that can just grow so quickly.
Right, and we've seen cases where companies have been really injured or hurt by a bad story going viral.
Right, exactly, very much so. And I find many small businesses, and research backs it up, that around 75% of them still don't believe that consumers are using the social media world to learn more about them. That's a fact. And the other scary fact is that also, if you're even going for a job interview today, 80% of hiring managers are now researching you on the internet prior to you coming in for the interview. So it's that two-way. There's now that two-way communication process.
So that just tells you that it's so important that people manage their own personal brands.
Well,
and they're not even thinking about that when they're signing up to Facebook and LinkedIn and all this kind of stuff.
Well, that's exactly it. That you're absolutely right. If I was to be interviewing today and I saw a bad video of someone on Facebook, that's the first question I bring up in my interview to them. And do I want them representing me that way in my business? No. And so they got to be very careful today with the social media world.
Yep.
Yes, it's now open to everyone.
So when you're working with a company and trying to work with them to establish or enhance their brand in this new environment, like how do you do that? Because it's, as you said, it's not just about presenting the brand anymore. It is a two-way street. And how do you manage that whole dynamic between the consumers and the company that's trying to manage its brand? Well,
you've got to remember, first and foremost, after the brand image is done and we've got the branding done, now it's the second stage is the marketing plan. And the marketing plan is then, there's a great quote out there, a goal without a plan is just a wish. And again, that's the second big major challenge that small business encounters, that they don't have an adequate marketing plan for their business to move forward. And so that's where we help them. And so it's all, again, relevant. And when you want to get into the social media world, you've got to recognize, okay, first and foremost, who's your target audience? Everyone is not your target audience. You must have a distinct target audience. You must break it down by behavioral, geographic, psychographic, different segments. You now break it down to become much more finer to it. And then you must find out where are they on the social media world, and so you may, for example, Facebook may not be for your business, LinkedIn may not be or Twitter may not be for your business, depending upon if they're not there. If they're on Facebook, great. If they're not, then you really have to think that strategy. Blogging is probably one of the greatest fears today to get your message known.
There's two shows on TV. One is Dragon's Den.
Yes.
And the other one it's on the Food Channel, Recipes and something else. The name escapes me, but it's around President's Choice, and they interview new recipes.
And they're going to put one of those recipes is going to become a President's Choice product.
Exactly.
Yes.
And they have several of them actually in the supermarket now, and but they always show a session with a brand marketing company.
Yes.
And so they sit and they eat the food and they meet the creator, and then they suggest a slogan, a logo, packaging, and where to present the food tasting. And And that makes or breaks the decision
Well,
of the judges.
Very much so. And, tagline and logo is so instrumental in your brand identity. Everyone knows, if I just say Nike, everyone understands immediately what their logo is. If I say McDonald's, everyone knows what their logo is immediately because it's entrenched in people's mind. And when you come up with a tagline, you want to keep it to at least 4 words. That's it.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Because
Really? 4 words.
4 words.
3 to 4 words at most.
Let's write that down.
Anything more, and you're going to forget it.
Yeah.
It's you want to make it simple and easy, something that will always resonate. Like for example, Nike, just do it.
Right.
A&P was mainly because of the meat. Okay, but it's around 5 or 6, I think it is.
But isn't that acceptable?
Yeah, because everyone
Or are you
remembered
saying
that.
that's why they fell apart?
It's only 5 words. That's
Yeah.
only.
Well, okay. Well,
When you no, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You set a limit like that. Yeah, you got to go plus or minus 2.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying it's got to be just 4, but I'm
Yeah.
saying that don't go beyond the 5th word, or people are going to start forgetting what it is altogether.
Well, you got to somehow drive it into people's minds, whether it's through a piece of music like Pizza.
That's right.
Right?
Yes, exactly.
Or whether it's
And I want to talk about that music.
you do. Well, go ahead, talk about
Well,
it.
it's just because
But also that music was a call to action. It
Yes.
was the phone number.
Yes,
You didn't
nine,
even
six,
have to
seven.
look it up in Yellow Pages. It was so brilliant.
yes, but how many times? Well, at least it's happened to me where I'll be driving and humming this tune and saying maybe the phone number, not realizing this is actually a phone number. This is a product.
Yeah.
Right.
And not realizing that, oh, I didn't know that tune was for that company. And I sing it all the time.
Exactly.
Yes. No, but it said you want to make sure though that your brand logo.
PCO.
Yeah.
The exterminators.
Yes.
PCO.
Yes.
PCO.
That's
and
right.
I'd be singing it, but I didn't know. And then I was going, I wonder what company I can get to kill the bugs in my apartment. And I couldn't think of a company. But I'd be singing that
Well, that
song.
didn't work very well then
So
for you.
and that's the problem that I find sometimes with advertising.
Well, for example, I'd say banks have done a great job in rebranding themselves away from being called the Bank of Montreal to now BMO, or Toronto Dominion now to TD. Everyone now refers to TD. Everyone refers to BMO. Everyone refers to Hudson Bay now as
Oh my gosh.
HBC.
Speaking of BMO or
and I
Bank
say
of Montreal.
ing. And everybody goes, what's ing? I went, ing.
Yeah,
ING Direct.
Well,
Yeah.
what the heck was the Bank of Montreal thinking a couple years ago when they did that M-Banks thing? Do you remember that? That was a massive exercise in brand change, and that didn't work. M-Banks.
I can't speak for that. I
Do you
don't
even
don't
remember?
remember it.
I
No,
don't
I
remember
can't
it
speak
either.
for
Do
it.
you
So
remember?
Are you sure you were on this planet? I mean, nobody remembers it.
Yes, it was this planet.
Okay. Okay, go on. Go
Okay,
on.
I'm looking out the door. There's somebody at the door.
It's okay, don't worry
Nobody's
about it.
paying attention.
We're on the show.
Okay. So with this new environment where we're dealing with the two-way interaction,
correct.
like what do you do? Do you then have to suggest a social media strategy, or how do you manage that?
You have to. You have to find a way that you can actually offer up a website which can ask for suggestions and ideas from your consumers. I know Dell Computer has done a great job with that. They've done a fantastic job.
Mm-hmm.
They've really built a customer-driven branding philosophy, and so for my clients, that's exactly what I'm trying to push as well now. Is engage in the social media world. To me, it's why do you not want to engage in the social media world? One, first, it's not going away, and secondly, it's leveled the playing field to go against the big boys. You no longer now need those $1 million budgets to spend on a 30-second commercial on the Super Bowl. Those days are gone. You don't, that, sure, Pepsi and Coke still have that money. Great, fantastic, good for them. They built great brands and but the small businesses can now just be as creative. Think outside the box. That's exactly what we try to bring to our customers. Think outside the box. Challenge the status quo. Think creatively. That's one of our philosophies at Baker Branding. Think creatively is the life force for small business to fuel their competitive edge.
Now, would you agree, perhaps, that Apple at the beginning was one of those companies that they thought about this perfect apple. They must have gone through 200,000 graphics and then picked, no, this is the one, and this is the bite that we need out of it. And they start with that. And that logo, you will see it in any TV show, in any movie set. Oh, they're using a Mac.
I would have, would have paid any money to have sat down for 5 minutes with Mr. Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
And to learn and to just ask him just 5 questions to be able to get his thoughts out of his brain. He was such a magnificent man, a CEO for that organization. And, and their counterpart, if you remember, around 3 weeks ago, a month ago, was Rim in Motion. Mm-hmm. And their BlackBerries were down for 2 or 3 days. Mm-hmm. And yet there was no real word came out at all from them. And that really, and that message got out. And that's really that they took a little bit hit on their brand image as a result of that 2 or 3 days when the BlackBerry wasn't working properly.
Which goes to that point about the interactive
correct.
communications environment now, where if a company or is not participating in that social dialogue, other people are going to carry on that conversation without your involvement, and you've got no input therefore.
Maple Leaf Foods came through that very scary bacteria with their meats, and their president was forthright in admitting they made mistakes.
Yeah,
he didn't try to hide it, and they got out of it. They got out of it because their president stood up, accepted the accepted failure, accepted the fault, and said, "We will do better.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We will ensure this never happens again, and our distinct apologies for what this did for you." And started to talk about all the different changes they're now going through to make sure that can never happen again. And there was a prime example of a gentleman that listened to their customer, and he took it, and he accepted the mistakes they'd made, and they moved on very successfully.
I think that happened in the States. Jack in the Box, one of the big hamburger chains, also had a problem, and they survived, but it was bad for like a year, and then they came back with a new campaign and such. Richard, I wanted to ask you, do you encourage your clients to look for music tag that's catchy, or do you say, let's stay away from music things?
I think there's some relevance to that, as we talked about pizza, 9, 6, 7, 11, 11.
Yeah.
If they've got the budget for it. I'm not, again, small businesses and large businesses, their budgets are not as big as, as the big brands out there. So we really just, take it one day at a time, and really just trying to path out the best path for them to get their brand name known out in the marketplace.
Well, 2.5 Men, Charlie Sheen's character, is the composer for commercials for products.
Yes.
And
very much so. Yes.
I mean, they still have a place in marketing, but I'm just wondering, is it a powerful tool? I mean, I know
it can be a very. It can be a
done it in a
I think it could be if you put it onto YouTube, because YouTube is now is the second or third most searched website on the internet now. For researching anything about a brand. And so, if you're lucky in that it goes viral, then that's not a strategy, it's not a tactic. That's a lot of it. A lot of that is luck, as we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
But if you get that, then boy, your brand is going to resonate with people for a long time to come.
Okay, Richard, I've got a question, because it seems that a lot of people are wrapping their heads around the whole YouTube and the whole YouTube experience and video and stuff like that. And a lot of people are trying to figure out a formula for making something going viral, whether that be a piece of music or a video or something like that. Do you have any insight about, like, is there a formula for making something go viral?
I think for myself, it's make it funny. I think if it's really funny and it's so funny to want to watch and all that, then I think that will definitely go viral. That's so I'd say that's one of the. A lot of it, I think, a lot of it just comes down, I think, luck as well in the timing of it. But certainly there's a lot of skill that has to go into making that YouTube and making sure that it resonates with people. And if it does resonate with 2 people, then it will go viral. So to myself, it's put some humor into it, and especially in my view in today's global world. What all we hear from the newspapers and the television shows is all the negative news going on. So why don't we try to bring some humor to our life, and try to at least put what's going on in the world behind us for at least 24 hours.
Yeah.
Also, America's Home Videos show. Is it America's Home Videos?
America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yes.
That's what it is. For
Yeah.
most people actually, although they're laughing, is somebody falling.
That's
somebody
right.
hitting themselves. Sometimes I'm worried that they are making their kids fall or stepping on a rake and then hitting in their head on purpose, like so they can get on the shows. Or
And I would hope that's not the case.
I would
But you're right. I've watched some of those, and I too said, okay, they're funny, but some it's like, some of them are scary.
yeah,
Yeah.
Some of them are very scary, especially when they're like they're dealing with little children.
yeah. Very much.
I think one of the other components about what makes something that goes viral is it's a mistake that happens. It's something that's unplanned.
That's right.
And that's why we do the show like this, because anything could happen.
Oh, the God,
At any
and
moment.
it does, and
Yes.
it
Yeah.
does. And if you took, let's say, Hugh and Liquid Lunch, and they came to one of your meetings at your company, help us. What would, in your first impression here, be one of your ideas that he could use to market himself?
Honestly, to me, the personality is fun and enjoy yourself and have fun, and this is what I'm having. And Hugh's email to me 2 days ago said the same thing. Just be relaxed and be yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the type of that's the personality that is coming out of me, that's coming out of you to me as a result of this experience today.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, because when you talk about branding, that almost seems like perfect advice when you're thinking about your brand is, just let people know who you are, whether that's
right.
you as a company or you as a product or you as a person, right? And the idea is to then convey the message of who you are accurately, so that the message accurately reflects the reality
Right.
behind it.
Exactly, that's right, for sure. And I had the pleasure of listening to the Chief Marketing Officer for Virgin Mobile here in Canada. And he got up on stage, and I don't think, truth, the way he was dressed, I thought he was just a stagehand.
Oh,
And as it turned out, that what they want to come out from the personality of Virgin Mobile is fun and creativity. And and that's exactly how his presentation came out, fun. And to endorse creativity, they also say, I've never heard about this before. I've always loved this too. They said they have a marketing budget and they have a slush budget. And if an idea doesn't work out, it goes in the slush budget. It doesn't get taken out of the marketing budget. So that gets their employees to think creatively, knowing that if it doesn't work out, don't worry about it. It's not going to affect our marketing budget overall. And I think that's a great idea. And they again, just and Richard Branson, he's
Yeah.
the same way. He just fun.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
just a fun gentleman to be to be around. He looks like it, and I've never had the privilege of meeting him, but he just looks like he has fun in life and he enjoys life, and it's our own life, so why not enjoy life?
Yeah.
Why not have fun with it?
yeah.
Absolutely. And Steve Jobs was also very
He's very
casual.
exactly,
Blue
that's
jeans
right.
and a black sweater.
Exactly, that's right, exactly.
Yeah. I'm trying to emulate him today. Black sweater.
I
blue
tried to
jeans.
too, but I lost my black sweater. I almost
Great.
wore a black turtleneck too.
And we planned the whole thing the next time.
Okay, Richard, not a lot of time left, but
Yes.
one other question, because we talk about communicating the essence of of the personality, whether
Yes.
that be but a company, and I can imagine you go in and work with some companies, and they might have some real problems with their brand, that maybe who they are as a company is really not where they should be. They should be doing things better. They should be doing things differently. And then,
Well,
it's almost like the role of brand consultant can morph into a complete business consulting service.
Very much so. And a brand identity starts with a great corporate strategy and corporate identity, first and foremost. And the first phase into that is, what is your line of business? And ensuring what is your line of business and stay in that line of business. I've seen over the number of years now, many of the great food brands are starting to sell off brands because it doesn't fit in their strategic vision anymore. So they're really zoning in as to what are our key strategic products that we want to be known for, and they're selling off others, still very valuable brands, but to smaller corporations that can make greater use of those. So and don't try to be one for all. You can't. Identify what is the business you're in, and identify exactly, again, who do you think is going to best fit your product and your brand, and know the fact is that there's many brands out there, and that you can't be one for all, and customers are going to buy your competitors' products as well as your product.
So really identify who that target audience is based on your strategic strengths as a company.
That's right, exactly, which is now we call target marketing. Segmenting your market base now, and really recognizing the fact is that everyone is no longer your target audience, and you must be narrow in so specifically now that we help our clients with through our marketing plans.
Okay, so for people that are tuning in right now and watching this, who are the kind of people that you want to be talking to?
Well, we'd like to talk to Baker Branding entrepreneurs, small and mid-sized businesses. Why? Because that's who we are. I've come from the small business sector, so I understand their challenges because I've met those challenges head on. So I understand the challenges of they're not getting enough through their brand identity. They don't have an adequate marketing plan. They don't understand their competition or who their target audience is. Or the fact is that they can't generate new business. So that's exactly where Baker Branding comes in. But again, budget is never been important to me because creative thinking is the life force for small business to fuel their competitive edge. And that's where I've always done when I've been in the private sector. Use my creative mindset to outthink the competition instead of try to outspend the competition.
And if you do the job right, there's going to be more than enough money for everybody anyways, right?
That's right, exactly. That's right, yes. And that, don't try, and if you're just starting out, set realistic objectives, smart objectives that can be measurable and are very attainable. And just take it one day at a time. Don't try to jump off, don't try to think you would, coming into this new market, you can get 20-30% market share in the first year. Just try it for 1 and 2 and grow from there.
Right.
Yeah, super. So what's the first step? Is there a website or something where people
Well, you can, our website is www.bakerbranding.ca, or they can get me at 416-768-7648, or my email address is richard@bakerbranding.ca, and we always offer a compulsory 90-minute complimentary brand consultation prior.
Fabulous.
That's
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah.
So, and there's no company too large or too small to meet you.
Not at all. Not at all. That, as I said, we can take, we look forward to helping any business out there who's looking forward to really having a resilient and more profitable brand identity. But certainly it's what we're looking for is if you're looking to increase sales, increase your customer retention, and increase your customer loyalty, then call Baker Branding. We'll help you achieve those objectives for yourself.
Awesome. Okay, Richard. Well, this was fun.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for the opportunity.
I found that was very enjoyable conversation, Marla. And
I thought it was very interesting.
yeah.
I mean, it's totally pertinent to what's going on right now. And my head's spinning now with, should I remount my flaxseed cookie and have a meeting with Richard?
Well, I will just say that, the one great brand that has come out throughout this tough economy is Porter Airlines. Oh. And Air Canada let them in. And now you're not going to get them out because from what I hear of people that use it is that they love the experience.
Well, I took it once and I loved it. I just want to actually book a flight. I don't care where I go because they're nice, they're clean, their lounge is amazing. They offer you free drinks and stuff, and you just go to the cooler, and it's just like, it's so pleasant.
Yes.
That I want to just only do porter.
That's right, exactly. And that's, I'm hoping to be going to Montreal and some business in the new year, and I've already said I'll be, connecting with my best friend who lives in downtown Toronto and sleep over there, and I'll just walk down to Porter Airlines and take Porter Airlines instead of wasting $45 parking at the
It doesn't make sense to fly from the airport to Montreal. I mean, you're going to spend as much time door to door as you do even if you drive.
Exactly.
Right? So
you're right.
And
Exactly.
Porter's
that's
solved
right.
that problem.
And it's a
Yes.
prop plane, so if you can
Yeah.
tolerate prop planes, then you got it made. And they're already they're short hulls, so
Yes.
Okay, Richard, great to have you on the show.
Well,
Thanks
thank you very
coming
much
in.
for the time, Hugh and Marlo. It was a great experience for
yeah,
myself.
it's really interesting stuff. Richard Baker, Baker Branding.
Okay, let's take a little break, Marla. And we're going to come back, and we're going to have some more fun
Great.
as we hit the home stretch here on Liquid Lunch on a Thursday. We'll be right back.